Hi guys, and welcome back to the Family Fudge. Today I'm making cinnamon roll pancakes with a cream cheese glaze and topped with walnuts. So stay tuned and I'll show you how to make it.
The Family Fudge, the Family Fudge. They are mostly sweet but full of nuts.
Now usually in the morning, I like to make breakfasts that are quick and easy. But sometimes if it's a special occasion or a holiday, maybe somebody's birthday, I will make something a little bit more special and a tiny bit more elaborate. So these cinnamon roll pancakes are perfect for that. The first thing you're gonna need is a pancake base. Now you could make your own from scratch, or like I'm gonna be using this multi-grain pancake mix from Trader Joe's. You could use gluten-free, I've tried that before. Any kind of pancake base you want. Since I'm using this one from Trader Joe's, here's what I need to make my pancake mix. Then I'm gonna be using some butter, some cream cheese, cinnamon, vanilla, brown sugar, powdered sugar, and walnuts. So we have three major parts to these pancakes. We have the cinnamon swirl, the pancake batter itself, and then the icing or the glaze. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're actually gonna start by making the cinnamon swirl because we wanna give that time to kind of set up. We're gonna be using melted butter as our base here, but when we swirl it onto our pancakes, we want the consistency to be thicker, almost like toothpaste. That way, when we swirl it onto our pancake, the swirl pattern will stay and won't just kind of mix in with the pancake. So I have 4 tablespoons of butter. Now I put this in the microwave for about 10 seconds, so some of it is melted and some of it's just soft. To this I'm going to be adding 1/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1/2 tablespoon of ground cinnamon. Now I'm just going to stir well to incorporate. Okay. Now that's all mixed up. So you can see we have a paste-like consistency, but I want it to be a little bit more solid. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little baggie, and this is gonna help us pipe our swirl design later as well, but I'm gonna take a little baggie, and I like to set it inside of a jar to keep it open so I can fill it easily. And I'm just gonna pour this into my baggie. I'm going to use my spatula to make sure I get it all out of there. I'm going to seal my baggie, get some of that air out. Now if you had a quart-sized bag, that would probably be better, but I only have gallons, so that's what I'm working with today. I'm going to squish this down into the corner. Okay, so here's our cinnamon swirl filling. I'm not going to cut the tip off just yet. I'm actually going to stick it in the fridge while I mix up my pancake batter and my cream cheese glaze frosting. When I stick this in the fridge, it's going to help it get a little bit more solid and easier to swirl. Our next step is to make our cream cheese glaze. I'm going to start with 3/4 cup of powdered sugar. It is in there. I know it might be kind of hard to tell, but I've got my powdered sugar already in there. To that I'm going to be adding 4 tablespoons of butter. All this butter and sugar, you guys. That's why I said this is a special occasion breakfast. Now I have an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. And this is room temperature cream cheese to help it mix in easier. So I'm actually only going to use about 1/3 of this. Go. You're just going to need a very small amount of this glaze for each pancake because the pancake itself is sweet, so we're not making a ton of cream cheese glaze here, just a little bit. Next we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and that's it. Now we're just going to stir it up. So I'm just going to keep whisking this until I can get most of the lumps out. You want the consistency to be a little bit thin here so you can drizzle it over your pancake. Next, we're gonna make our pancake mix. I'm gonna be using this one, but you can use any one you prefer, just your basic pancake recipe. I have 2 cups of my mix in here, followed by 2 eggs. I have 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, melted, and 1 cup of milk. Now I'm just going to mix it all up. Okay, time to warm up our skillet. Now this is a non-stick skillet, but I'm still going to spray it with a little bit of cooking spray just to make sure it doesn't stick. We are adding sugar onto our pancakes and that can tend to get sticky. Alright, so I just grabbed my cinnamon filling mixture out of the fridge and it's really solid. I think I left it in there a little bit too long. So I'm going to let this warm up just a little bit so that it's still solid, but I can squirt it out of the bag. If it's too stiff, it won't pipe very well. So I'm going to give that a couple of minutes. Now while I'm waiting for my cinnamon filling to get a little bit warmer, I can just let you guys know that this doesn't make a lot of pancakes. It just makes about 8 to 10 depending on your size. But if you wanted to, you could double it and cook more. They would definitely do well in the freezer if you wanted to freeze some for later. I like to make freezer pancakes quite often. Alright, so I gave my cinnamon filling a little squeeze, and I definitely think I could pipe it out of my bag now, so it's ready to go. I turned my pan onto low. We don't want it super hot. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the tip off of my piping bag. Okay, so now we're just gonna watch these carefully. When I see the bubbles, when I'm almost ready to flip it, that's when I'm gonna add my cinnamon filling. Okay, moment of truth, can I flip it? Let's find out. Yay, it worked. Okay, now you can see here we have some sugar that's kind of bubbling out of the sides, and that's totally fine. That's normal. It is a little bit messy, but that's what's going to give us our cinnamon roll-like texture and make it look like caramelized, sugary cinnamon rolls. Ooh, it looks like a cinnamon roll. Ta-da! Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn off my pan and wipe off my sugar once my pan is cooled. Before I start my next batch of pancakes, I just wanna wipe it down, but make sure you don't wipe it down when it's still super hot. I think one of the trickiest things about this recipe is not letting the cinnamon sugar burn. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't add it until we were almost ready to flip it. And then when we did, you just leave it on that other side for just a minute and take it off. Otherwise, you might burn your sugar. And caramelized sugar and burnt sugar are not the same thing. And for whatever reason, if you run low on your cinnamon filling, you could definitely make another batch, but you just want a little bit for each pancake. Now, as you can see, this one didn't come out perfect. And that's totally fine, don't worry about it. It's still gonna taste really good. So while these are still warm, you're gonna wanna get your glaze on there and your walnuts. But as I can see, my glaze is a little bit thickened now. It's not quite as pourable as I'd like it to be. So I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of milk. Just like a capful of milk. Just to thin it out a little bit. Whisk it up. Now it will drizzle nicely. Now for our nuts. All right, there you have it. Cinnamon roll pancakes with a cream cheese glaze and walnuts. I hope you guys love it.